Are you ignoring an oil-related warning that could cost you $20,000 in engine damage because a quick lube tech or a service advisor told you it was normal? I've seen this exact scenario destroy hundreds of engines over the last 20 years. Customers come in with legitimate warning signs, they ask about it at their last oil change, and they're told that's just how these engines are, or all cars do that now. Then 6 months later, their engine is toast, and they're facing a bill that costs more than the car is worth. Today, I'm going to show you exactly which oil-related symptoms are absolutely not normal, what they actually mean, and how ignoring them can lead to catastrophic failure. This could save you thousands of dollars, maybe tens of thousands. Let's get into it. The mistake I'm talking about is this: accepting oil consumption, oil pressure warnings, or oil-related noises as normal without actually diagnosing the root cause. Because here's the reality: modern engines should not burn significant oil between changes. They should not have low oil pressure warnings. They should not make ticking or knocking sounds that disappear when you add oil. If any of these things are happening, something is wrong. And ignoring it because someone told you it's normal is how you turn a $500 repair into a $20,000 engine replacement. Let me start with the most common one: oil consumption. You check your dipstick and you're down a quart. You top it off. 2 weeks later, you're down another quart. You mention it at your next oil change, and the service advisor says, yeah, these engines burn a little oil. That's normal. Just keep an eye on it and top it off when needed. So you do. For the next year, you're adding a quart every 500 to 1,000 miles. And then one day, the engine seizes because you didn't check it in time, or the oil got so contaminated from constant consumption that it lost its ability to protect. Here's the truth: some oil consumption is technically within manufacturer tolerance, but that doesn't mean it's not a problem. Many manufacturers say 1 quart every 1,000 miles is acceptable for warranty purposes. That doesn't mean it's good. That doesn't mean you should ignore it. It means they've set the warranty bar low enough that they don't have to replace engines under normal wear. But burning a quart every 1,000 miles is a sign of worn piston rings, failing valve seals, PCV system issues, or turbocharger problems. Left unchecked, it gets worse, not better. I had a customer with a 2015 Subaru Outback that was burning a quart every 800 miles. She mentioned it at the dealership during an oil change. They told her, "That's within spec. These engines use a little oil, just check it regularly." She did for 2 years. At 120,000 miles, the engine threw a rod bearing because the oil level had dropped critically low between checks, and the remaining oil was so contaminated with fuel and combustion byproducts that it had lost viscosity. The repair? $8,500 for a remanufactured engine. The root cause? Worn piston rings that should have been addressed at 80,000 miles when the consumption first started. If your engine is burning more than half a quart between oil changes, roughly every 3,000 to 5,000 miles, that is not normal. That's a symptom of mechanical wear that needs diagnosis. Piston rings, valve seals, PCV valve, turbo seals, something is failing. And the longer you ignore it, the worse it gets and the more expensive the fix becomes. Now let's talk about oil pressure warnings. Your oil pressure light flickers on at idle or during low-speed driving. You check the oil level, it's fine. You mention it to a mechanic and they say, yeah, these engines run low pressure at idle, it's normal. As long as it doesn't stay on, you're fine. So you ignore it. 6 months later, your engine starts knocking. A month after that, it's a paperweight. Here's what's actually happening. If your oil pressure warning light is coming on, even briefly, your engine is not maintaining adequate oil pressure to protect bearings under all conditions. That light is triggered by a pressure switch that activates when pressure drops below a certain threshold, usually around 5 to 10 psi. That is dangerously low. At idle, most engines should maintain at least 15 to 20 psi. At cruising speed, 30 to 60 psi depending on the engine. Low oil pressure at idle can mean several things: worn main or rod bearings with excessive clearance, a failing oil pump, clogged oil passages, a faulty pressure relief valve, diluted oil from fuel contamination, or oil that's sheared out of grade and too thin to maintain pressure. None of these are normal. All of them lead to accelerated wear and eventual failure. I had a customer with a 2017 Chevy Silverado 5.3-liter engine. Oil pressure light flickered at idle when the engine was hot. He asked about it at a quick lube place. They told him it was normal for high-mileage engines. He had 140,000 miles. He drove it for another 6 months. One morning, the engine started knocking. By the time he got it to my shop, the number 6 rod bearing was destroyed. The crank journal was scored. The engine needed replacement. Cost? $12,000. The root cause? The oil pump was failing and wasn't generating enough pressure. A $400 oil pump replacement 6 months earlier would have prevented the entire failure. If your oil pressure warning light comes on even for a second, get it diagnosed immediately. Don't accept it's normal as an answer. Check actual oil pressure with a mechanical gauge. If pressure is low, find out why. Because low oil pressure kills bearings, and once bearings are damaged, you're looking at thousands of dollars in repairs. Now let's talk about oil-related noises, specifically ticking, tapping, or knocking sounds that change with engine RPM or go away when you add fresh oil. You hear a ticking noise from the top of the engine, you mention it at your oil change, the tech says, "Yeah, these direct injection engines are noisy." That's just the injectors. Totally normal. So you accept it. Except the noise gets louder over the next few months. Then one day it becomes a knock, and then your engine destroys itself. Here's the reality. Some engine noise is normal. Direct injection engines do make injector clicking sounds. That's mechanical fuel injection, and it's audible. But valve train noise, ticking from the cam, lifters, or rockers is not normal. That noise means something isn't getting adequate lubrication. Collapsed lifters, worn cam lobes, clogged oil passages, stuck VVT solenoids, these all make noise, and they all indicate oil starvation or mechanical wear. I had a customer with a 2018 Honda Accord 1.5 turbo that developed a ticking noise around 60,000 miles. She asked about it at the dealership. They told her it was normal engine noise and that turbocharged engines are louder. She accepted that. By 80,000 miles, the ticking was loud enough that people outside the car could hear it. At 85,000 miles, the engine started misfiring. At 90,000 miles, it failed completely. Turbocharger bearing failure caused by oil starvation, which then sent metal debris through the engine and destroyed the cam and lifters. The repair? $15,000 for a new engine and turbo. The root cause? A clogged oil passage to the turbocharger that starved it of oil. If it had been diagnosed at 60,000 miles when the noise first appeared, it would have been a $1,200 repair to clean the passages and replace the turbo bearings. If your engine develops a new noise, especially a ticking, tapping, or rattling sound that wasn't there before, don't accept it's normal without a proper diagnosis. Have a qualified mechanic listen to it. Verify oil pressure. Check for oil starvation issues. Because noises don't just go away on their own. They get worse, and by the time they become obvious, the damage is often catastrophic. Here's another one people ignore. Dark, burnt-smelling oil long before the recommended change interval. You're at 3,000 miles on a 7,500-mile oil change schedule, and your oil is already black and smells burnt. You mention it to your service advisor, they say, "Oil gets dark. That's what it does. It's cleaning your engine. That's normal." So you wait until 7,500 miles to change it. Except by that point, the oil has oxidized, lost viscosity, and isn't protecting anymore. Over time, this causes sludge buildup, carbon deposits, and accelerated wear. Here's the truth. Oil should not turn black and smell burnt in 3,000 miles under normal driving. If it does, something is wrong. You might have a failed PCV valve allowing excessive blow-by, which dumps combustion gases and fuel into the oil. You might have a leaking turbo seal allowing exhaust gases into the crankcase. You might have an EGR cooler leak contaminating the oil with coolant and soot. Or you might have piston rings that are so worn they're allowing massive amounts of combustion byproducts into the oil. I had a customer with a 2016 Ford F-150 EcoBoost whose oil turned black by 2,500 miles. He mentioned it multiple times at the dealership. They said it was normal for turbocharged engines. By 100,000 miles, his engine had so much carbon buildup on the intake valves and piston tops that it lost 20% of its power and started misfiring. The cleaning process? $2,800 for a complete carbon cleaning service, new PCV system, and valve cleaning. If the PCV failure had been diagnosed at 50,000 miles when the oil first started turning dark prematurely, it would have been a $200 repair. If your oil is getting significantly darker or starting to smell burnt well before your scheduled change interval, get it diagnosed. Don't just shorten your oil change interval and call it good. That's treating the symptom, not the cause. Here's why this matters so much. Engines are expensive. A new or remanufactured engine for a modern vehicle can easily cost $8,000 to $20,000 depending on the make and model. That's more than many used cars are worth. And once an engine fails catastrophically, there's no fixing it. You're replacing it or scrapping the car. But here's the thing. Most catastrophic engine failures don't happen suddenly. They happen after months or even years of warning signs that were ignored. Oil consumption that gradually increased. Oil pressure warnings that were dismissed. Noises that were accepted as normal. Dark oil that was ignored. Every one of these symptoms is your engine telling you something is wrong. And every time you ignore it because someone told you it was normal, you're one step closer to catastrophic failure. So here's what you need to do. If your engine is burning oil more than half a quart between changes, get it diagnosed. Don't just keep topping it off indefinitely. Find out if it's rings, valve seals, PCV, or turbo, and address it before it gets worse. If your oil pressure warning light ever comes on even briefly, get actual oil pressure tested with a mechanical gauge. Don't accept it's normal unless someone can show you that pressure readings are within spec at idle and under load. If pressure is low, find out why and fix it immediately. If your engine develops a new noise, ticking, tapping, knocking, don't accept all engines make noise as an answer. Have a mechanic diagnose the source. Verify that critical components like the cam, lifters, and turbo are getting adequate oil flow. If your oil is turning dark or smelling burnt well before your change interval, get the root cause diagnosed. Find out if you have excessive blow-by, PCV failure, turbo issues, or other contamination sources. Fix the problem, not just the symptom. And here's the most important thing. Don't let anyone gaslight you into accepting a problem as normal without proper diagnosis. Modern engines are sophisticated. They don't burn oil, they don't lose oil pressure, they don't make excessive noise. If any of these things are happening, something is wrong. And ignoring it because it's easier or cheaper in the short term is how you turn a minor issue into a $20,000 disaster. I've seen this play out hundreds of times in my shop. A customer comes in with a destroyed engine. I ask when they first noticed the problem. They say, about a year ago, but the dealership said it was normal. That one sentence has cost people more money than I can calculate. Because normal became catastrophic, and by the time they realized it, it was too late. Don't be that person. If something seems wrong with your engine, trust your instincts and get a second opinion. Oil consumption, oil pressure warnings, unusual noises, prematurely dark oil, none of these are normal. They're all symptoms of problems that will get worse if ignored. Have you been told something was normal that turned out to be a serious problem? Drop a comment with your story. I want to hear what symptoms you were told to ignore and what eventually happened. And if this warning just saved you from a $20,000 mistake, hit that like button and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Next week, I'm breaking down the truth about oil additives, which ones actually work, which ones are snake oil, and which ones can damage your engine. You need to see that one. If you're not subscribed, hit that button now. Drop a comment. I respond to every one. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.